Hello everybody, welcome. I'm Noah2 and thank you for watching this video. This is the Act-6 walkthrough guide. We're going to be talking about some of the harder parts of Act-6, some of those hard holdout areas, areas where you may have died, areas where I may have died, where to stand, basic fundamentals, all those good principles how to play a PvE cooperative sort of style game like this, or just Back for Blood in general. We're playing as Hoffman because the wolf pack has to stay together. Keep in mind that we're on recruit mode, so this is just a walkthrough. I'll be literally showing you like the ins and outs of these missions, some nuances, tips and tricks, that sort of thing. I'm using this deck here mostly for my convenience. Just notice at the bottom though, we have all the scavenger cards here. Just for the sake of like knowledge, we can see a map that's totally flooded with loot. We may be able to see like, oh, like loot has a chance to spawn here. We didn't know that. We didn't realize that before. Things like that. And we'll pick this up here. And now, when it comes to Act 6, I would define Act 6 as a map with hard holdout spots. It seems like the dev team has been more interested in like trying to make it harder for players to get themselves in a nice corner.
But I don't see no cultists.
Trust me, Dusty. They're there.
They're sort of made for sections where you need to fight forced horde events in sort of crappy locations. So a big part of this big theme overall is going to be us talking about where to stand and where to look and things like that. How to make the best out of those crappy situations, basically. One thing here that we'll note for Act 6 are these sort of style of bushes. Are they spawn points? Can enemies be inside of them? Yes. Are they always spawn points though? Not always. I tend to find it to be a little finicky, fickle, where enemies can spawn in these bushes and over this fence and over there, but it seems like one or the other is activated. It's not always both of them. Things to sort of keep in mind as to why we choose the spot where we stand and how we sort of, again, like, are just making the best out of what is as good as it gets, really.
This place would be perfect for a mother-son getaway.
True that.
I got a feeling things are gonna get ugly.
Plant our bombs. Let's start planting our bombs here.
Here,
now, I guess
this.
We need to talk about in no hope mode, you have to plant all 6 bombs, right? Typically, when it comes to the order of planting, I like to do left first, then the right 2, and then the far back 2. The point is, though, as far as planting these house bombs, is that we end by the bell. That's like the most efficient pathing that we could have, essentially. Feel free to loot these houses for, etc. Things can spawn. For a very long time, I thought nothing could spawn in these bathrooms. But, like, if you are running support scavenger, pills can spawn in there. Things can spawn in this house. Be careful. Things can spawn. Not be careful is not the right thing to say. Things can spawn in the pillows and they get glitched out and you can't grab them. If anyone can figure out how to grab those, I'd love to know. On the move now.
Found some intel.
Is on the move now. Keep in mind with loot inside of these houses, any excess loot that you would like to keep but you can't carry or can't use right now, you need to carry it.
See you on the other side.
You need to carry it off of the porch. Otherwise, when the house explodes, everything inside the house will be destroyed, as you might imagine. I think both of these houses are boarded up. No. Look at that. The pattern that I typically get when I've been doing dry runs on the recruit mode is that typically when you got one of each house, or you need to only do 3 bombs, it's typically one in each, like, chunk. One in each area. We're on the move again. One of the characteristics about these houses is that a lot of them, for the most part, will have gasoline cans. In recruit mode, all of them do, I think. Or not gasoline, a throwable, explodable. That's right. Potent potables. Anyways. In no hope mode, for the most part, that's the case, where most of these houses will have something to blow up.
I will kill
Now, when it comes to holding out in this section, we need to talk about being in solo mode with the bots and online with random people. The houses blow up in the same exact order. They will go 1, 2, 3,
Something's
4,
off. I can feel
5, 6. When you're playing in no hope mode, because in no hope mode, all 6 of the houses need bombs and they all blow up. This house, from my experience, from the 20 plus times that I have played through this campaign on no hope mode in preparation for these videos, for you, this is always the last house to explode. I'll say it with confidence. If not, good luck. But in solo mode with the bots, when we're inside of these houses, enemies are spawning on the porch. Now, inside the house, great place to hold out. Very easy, very safe. Great place to hold out. But with the bots and enemies spawning on the porch, it can be a real pain in the butt to get out of the house. And so I tend to find that as you're trying to get out of the house, you usually have to like burn a pipe bomb and use your resources or take damage. And a lot of the times, the bots don't like to run or teleport if they are chasing you. And if you wait until the 5-second timer happens on the house that you're in, I tend to find the bots, for the most part, die on the porch. And so I have come to find that I do not like holding out in these houses with the bots. Now, if you're playing with people, the house 100% must hold out in this house right here. Because playing with people in these other spots that I'm about to show you will just not work because people are not coordinated enough. People will panic. The bots, though, they're 360 no-scope monsters, right? So if you're playing with real people,
what's that?
I recommend holding out in this house right here at the very end, and then when the timer happens, you just, grenade the door, sprint, jump out, get into some little corner-esque sort of thing right here, literally right here, then just hold out for the rest of the horde event. But with the bots, I'm going to be showing you 2 spots here. The first spot will be right here. This is closer. This is typically safer for our bots to get here more comfortably. Notice how that when we push the bell, there's a little bit of a delay for the horde event when it's triggered, so enemies down here don't aggro right away. Keep in mind, again, the finicky spawn points that are these bushes, sometimes enemies will spawn right here, sometimes they'll spawn right here. I tend to find if we just chill right here in this corner, nothing will spawn right here. The occasional enemy will spawn in these bushes, but for the most part, everything spawns out there, sort of around this corner of the house, things like that. But of course, enemies can spawn right here, so keep that in mind. With the bots, though, it's not the biggest deal in the world. For mutations that are crawling out of the ground, out of these bushes, the bots will ping them. You get enough time to sort of start shooting them. Hopefully your deck has got good enough DPS that you can hit. And then we just hang out here. And that ends up being the spot that I use the most. The other spot that you may want to play around with is right here. Again, spawn points potentially right there, and right here. But it seems like a lot of the times not both of them are active like at once. Really nice line of sights here. The only issue with this spot, where there's 2, 1, it's further away from the bell, so there's more chance that your bots are gonna get cut off from you en route. The other thing too is that depending on sort of like the houses and where the snipers spawn, because as these houses blow up, snipers spawn on top of them. Some of the snipers can get angles on you and shoot at you while they wait for the house to explode. Whereas when we're standing over here, there are no snipers on all 6 of the houses that have a shot on you. And also, too, what I like about this spot right here is as it ends, the horde event ends, and this door opens up behind us.
Something smells bad, and for once,
you can fall back to right here. Enemies can be in these bushes, but I've never seen anything spawn in these bushes. There's always sort of keep it with a grain of salt, though, as far as, like, from my experience in a game filled with RNG, nothing spawns here. But you might get here and have enemies spawn here, and I'm sorry that happens to you. I don't know why it does.
Something there.
Maybe keep in mind too, a lot of my testing is done in offline mode. Sometimes things might be different.
It's your lucky day, HR.
Than online with other people. So this is our fallback point right here. If anything goes wrong in the forest, fall back right here. Heal up the bots. Keep in mind here that there is a crap ton of loot. Crap ton
Here,
of loot.
take this.
But notice that we have hang, and we have food scavenger, and there is no food spawn here. I've never seen food spawn here.
First aid cabinet. Just fix yourself up while you can.
But if anything bad happens in the forest, fall back to this
Over there.
corner. We can farm lives on the bot here. If things
I
are
think
going
I found
wrong,
a way through.
on the move. Now, the forest is 3 paths. We'll sort of walk down each path individually. Be sure to check the timestamps. This will be like the longest busy work in this section. Right path, middle path. The middle path will veer off to the left for our left path. The question I pose to you is, the right path, which will lead to a toolkit room, do we need to
How was
take
your
it? This map has 2 guaranteed medicine cabinets. I would say of all the maps in the entire game, this is one of the best maps to skip taking a toolkit room. Don't need to take it. So, if there are birds here, don't worry about them. There can be a red barrel that spawns here. Good RNG, blow the barrel up, kills the birds, blah, blah, blah. Keep in mind that if you're taking the far right path, see if we can demonstrate it, some of these snipers will shoot you from like all the way on the other side of the forest. And there's less snipers in recruit mode, but just so you know. We'll take the right path all the way first. Now, in no hope mode, it's around this point, this torch. It's a little wonky for which path you're taking. But as you patch some of these torches, the boss will spawn, which will be a hag. So the right path, I'm pretty sure it's this torch, if I recall correctly. It's like a little bit different for each path that you take, where the exact trigger is that spawns the horde, or the hag. Here's our toolkit room. Following the right path super hard here. You see that sniper could lock onto us. All of this is spawn points. So when it comes to just like a general good principle of Back 4 Blood gameplay, and just sort of cooperative PvE style games like this in general, getting your back against the wall is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And so when it comes to traversing an area like this, you pick left or you pick right, and then you stick with it, keep your back against that wall. Going down the middle is like, it's just extra danger. Keep in mind that the path, the middle path, is marked by just the wood planks here.
Well, what do you know?
Ending here, right?
What's that?
Our main path.
Woman in
We'll
charge.
walk the
Con,
main
woman in
path back.
charge of a homicidal cult.
Notice that the main path sort of like there's side passages that will link us back to the left and right path, but you can sort of see if anything bad were to happen here, for you to accidentally trigger a horde event or the hag shows up, you would just be in a world of hurt out in the middle here.
There.
Okay. Alright, this is the middle path. There is loot, as you can tell, strung throughout the entire forest. I would say really not worth it. Looting the entire forest. Really not worth it. I, for the most part, end up taking the left path here, which is down here. See it by the golf cart. Enemies can drop on down on top of us, so we don't want to linger in the forest.
Putting this in my
at all,
pocket.
right? Like the
No,
forest
no.
is sort of a dangerous place. So I
Actually,
usually just
this pocket.
pick your path, left or right, stick with it, get the heck out of here as quickly as possible. Ooh, I forgot to mention. So when in no hope mode, a hag is guaranteed to spawn. I am 100% confident that from here, it is on the left path. When you drop down, the hag will spawn. You can climb back up, so keep that in mind. I would recommend the left path here. You don't need to burn a toolkit here because you have you have 2 medicine cabinets access to. But typically take the left path. This is where the hag will spawn. Drop down, climb back up, and then sprint all the way back to the picnic tables at the first medicine cabinet that we came across.
Keep up. Don't want to have to go back.
You hold out there. That's the best place to fight the hag. Now we're moving on to the hardest section, I would say, of the entire mission.
Feeling things are gonna get ugly.
You can be just past this gate here, going into the lighthouse area. take an RPK with more reload speed. Okay, I just don't got an angle on that guy. Don't think I want the... Don't want a slow reloading thing. We're on the move. It's recruit mode. We're on the move. So here snipers will spawn. They're triggered by walking past this guy.
They're using that general store as their headquarters.
In no
We need to
hope
bring
mode,
it to
more
blood.
snipers will spawn than just that one. There'll be one on the
See
roof
that?
right there.
Intel here.
Pressure over there!
Shoot it in the head.
Pressure that head!
Should have admin reload. That's what I need for this guy. Also, too, in no hope mode, a sniper will spawn on top of this roof. If you like literally just like get on top of this fence and look over, you'll see him
What's
like right
that?
here. Kill the sniper right here. He won't aggro onto you. Very, very good.
Wrong.
Now, planting this bomb will open up this gate, and behind it will always be a little cluster. Will always be a little cluster of enemies. This is sort of a great moment for you, like, if you don't understand why Empowered Assault is such a good card, or, like, want to see it demonstrated, that right there is a little great instance for, like, killing one mutation
Could
chains
come in
into
handy.
being able
Better
to
than bills.
comfortably stumble multiple mutations, like, one after the other.
Reloading something.
Get some loot here. Now, the important line to note here for no hope mode is that there is a line that will trigger an ogre jumping out of the ocean. This is the hardest part of the entire mission. One of the hardest parts of the entire
There's the
campaign.
lighthouse, the antenna. That's how
Our
they're
line is
broadcasting
this
their
right
message.
here.
Over there.
This right here is our line. Don't touch this. Don't touch it with your body. I will say that I like to sort of reset right here. As a holdout point, get your bots clustered with you. When you're right here, I would recommend if you need to take a horde event, you got a horde timer that's about to trigger. I like taking it right here. Enemies have to climb up right
that?
here. Giving you decent enough line of sight. There's no escape here for the most part, other than like jumping down right here. You could jump down and then into this hut as like emergency. But what I like about this particular spot is that it manipulates spawn points by standing right in this corner I found. And that if a horde event were to be triggered, a lot of enemies will spawn
Did you see that?
over here. You'll have enemies spawning basically out of these bushes, and then running like down here, and then climbing up, giving you lots of time to shoot at them, things like that. I have a neat little thing. Again, not super consistent with all the spawn points, because spawn points are just like, you know, all over the place. There's a lot of factors that go into where enemies are spawning and things like that. So, now, this is the hardest part of the mission. The ogre jumps out of the ocean, an infinite horde event is triggered, we gotta plant 2 bombs, get the heck out of here, get back to the boat before we're crushed to death by an ogre that we just don't want to DPS down. Would recommend doing this path unless you're playing with players and you actually all have a deck capable of burning this ogre down really quickly. This is the path that I'm going to be showing you very specifically as far as how to get 2 bombs planted, keep your bots alive for as long as possible, and then get out of here back to the boat without dying. And again, check out, eventually there will be links in this video to the No Hope playthrough demonstrating what I'm about to talk about here, because it can be rather wild. It can go from fine to crap storm very quickly, things like that, right? So the path here very, very specifically, and if you're using pipe bombs, notice where I throw the pipe bombs. Here I'll typically burn the pipe bomb here. You cannot mantle this fence. You have to clear this fence. Oh god, hang. Don't knock me off. You cannot mantle this fence. You have to jump over it. I like throwing the pipe bombs, oops, into there, because the pipe bomb will pull aggro, and then it'll blow up and kill sleepers in there, but we didn't do that. We missed our throw. We like to sprint down, and then I like to get into here. Keep in mind, in the hope mode, the ogre has spawned. It's walking towards us this way. Get into here. Linger a little bit. We want the bots to follow us here, right? Because as we're running to the lighthouse, we want the bots to take this path right here. So they don't get crushed by the ogre. Because otherwise, they'll literally just walk into the ogre and get stepped on. So very specific path here that we're taking. Good RNG. There's a red barrel that spawns here. You can blow it up. it burns out these enemies, and the flames don't touch you while you're planting this bomb.
Lay down and feed.
Now we're hanging out here.
Dusty, where are you?
And planting this second bomb, you can't see it because of the fog. Planting the second bomb spawns that sniper, and the gate over there opens up.
What's that?
And there's another wave of cultists there. Now, we need to wait because the gate takes a little bit of time to open up, and of course there's cultists running out of it, so it's pretty clogged up trying to get there. So I like to linger right here after planting the second bomb. We funnel most of the enemies
This is only
right here.
the beginning.
Enemies are spawning here on the rooftop, finding enemies here. Eventually, though, the Ogre will start to walk right there. And that'll be an issue for us. As the Ogre starts to get here, basically that's like the only time indication we have. As the Ogre begins to get here, we just sort of work our way around and then back through the same path that we took. Keep in mind, those blue bikes, you cannot jump on top of them or over them. It's very annoying. It looks like you should be able to, but you can't. Oh god. As you can see, and very quickly, if you linger too much, like trying to talk to you guys, then things can fall apart. But basically, you run from the lighthouse into here. The faster you do, at this point, we do not want to linger for the bots. We don't care about the bots at this point.
Put myself back together here.
Get into here. So where are the sleepers? Typically, I come out and like to hug this wall, just so that enemies that are dropping down are right in front of me, and I can see if there's a sleeper here. And then, also too, you can sort of like fight the snipers that are up there, throw our final pipe bomb, and then we go for it. And at this point too, I would recommend no more lingering. At this point, your bots are probably all dead. You don't need
get back to the team as soon as
jump
possible.
off, you can sprint
All
off,
aboard the SS
land on just fine. And that is
Ooh,
this
now, I don't know
first
about you all,
mission
but I give
walkthrough.
this resort
Again, check
5
the link in the
fucking
description
stars.
for the No Hope playthrough of this mission, just to demonstrate that final part. At least for just that final part where it can be a real pain in the butt to sort of plant those 2 bombs at the harbor and get out of there alive. Because yeah, it gets really chaotic, and you just have to just go. A little bit of waiting, and then you just go. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you in the future.